All right, we'll call the meeting to order and we will go to Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Figgis, you can lead us.
Well,
I'll stand next to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment.
Everyone's.
Anything out there, Devin, or anyone?
You couldn't make it.
Not seeing any hands at the moment.
Okay,
One more moment. I think we're all set.
okay. We'll go to minutes. Can I have a motion to approve D1, please?
Motion. Second.
Any changes, questions, comments? None? Okay, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, can I have a motion for D2 for the minutes, please?
Motion.
Second.
Any comments, changes, discussion? Okay, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Correspondence, anything electronically or written?
We just had the one by one correspondence that came in, and we have the correspondence and the answer to it.
Okay. Excellent.
And I think also Devin had a phone call too, so we did speak to this person quite a bit.
Okay,
This person that correspondence.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was two, Devin, there's two correspondents, one we responded to, and I think one you had a telephone conversation with, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Elaine Carpino, she actually submitted correspondence 2 and 3 here. And when we talked on the phone, we covered both of those topics.
okay, so we're good on that?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, we'll go right to new business. Item F1, I need a motion to approve the Silver and Petroselli invoice.
Motion. Second.
Second, I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, and this is for the last billing period, or I
Right.
would presume. Okay. All right, all those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. F2. To discuss the outcome of the April 27th, 2023 referendum and next steps. I guess instead of my chair report, I think I'm gonna just jump right to this. I want to thank the citizens for voting this project through. This was a good win for the town of Farmington. This great iconic building now will stay up there a very long time. And we will continue to get great use out of it into the future. And it's a big one for this town. The other thing is I want to thank this committee for putting in your time and efforts for doing this. It's been a lot of work and we have a ton of work coming up. And I know we're going to get there and get the best result out of it. Second of all, I want to thank Kathy, Kat, Russ, Chris, Dave, and all the people behind the scenes who did a fabulous job supporting this committee and getting us to where we are today. You guys killed it. You hit it out of the park with all the hard work you did with all of our communications and the mailers and just generally making this committee look good. So I want to thank you all for that. And I really mean it. You guys have done a great job and we all done a great job collectively. So on that note, what's our next steps?
All right, so maybe Chris, you can help me out, but I think, and Dave, the first thing, one of the things that we have to do, which we're gonna get a new contract with you all. So that will be one of the things we'll do, and then this committee will have to approve that. So you guys will be getting that information to me. And I think when you remind me at the first time with the RFP, we sort of have an idea of what the second contract's gonna look like too, right?
Yeah, correct. So the agreement right now, the AIA was formed with just sort of the initial phases, and then all the other phases were just said not used or sort of determined. So what we were planning on doing was just adjusting that same contract or amending it accordingly with those additional phases and then, presenting that with the fee schedule and such. We also need to just flush out those division of responsibilities related to the work that's going to be done as part of the high school project and such, so we'll sort of attach those as exhibits to the contract that sort of defines our work and then the work done by others, so we'll work with you in the next few to just get that all buttoned up and amend the contract.
Right, Peter, it's up to you if you want to include a couple of committee members to work with me and the architect with it. Or I could let you know when we're having the meetings. I figured that between Russ, myself and the architects, we'll get to everything together and bring it to you all. But of course, if a committee member wants to be part of that process, we could do that.
And that's dealing with the contracts and
Yeah,
stuff.
just get, and then, so it'd be dealing with the behind, getting it all squared away. But then, of course, you guys will do the final approval of it.
Well, I'm not going to appoint him, but I'll let him think about it. I'll see if Mr. Fagan.
Okay,
might be
I will do it.
interested in that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Chris, what I'll do is that when we meet, we'll go through just the
Sure.
basics, and then when we get kind of close, we'll get you
Okay,
involved
yep.
in it, and
Sounds good.
we'll put you.
Did I put you on the spot?
It's okay.
He told me before he wanted.
Well, I figure it was a contract. It's right up his alley.
I only charge 1,500 an hour.
Yeah. How much?
1,500.
Oh, no, and-
Oh, we have the budget.
No, we have, yes, I just have a question, when you mentioned the work between the high school and our project, you guys aren't doing work for the high school. What you're talking about is that overlap work,
The
the,
overlap work of the is called that's being formed by.
so the outdoor
that Chris-
stuff that we talked about before.
High school bid documents included scope up to and around what they presumed at the time was the 1920 footprint.
Yep.
Including site work, building demolition of the high school. There are elements that need to be adjusted based on what we now know as the original 28 footprint of our building that is moving forward. Some changes in the site as a result of our 28 referendum project and adding parking and shifting parking. And that selective demolition that really wasn't defined in the high school bid documents. So they practically depicted that everything around the 28 building comes down. But we know we need to be a little more selective in how that's done, not optimize structure. So
That was my next question about the demolition
Right.
part of it, what role.
So there's overlap in the two jobs, and it's as much deciding which project and the contractors do the work ties into which team of architects and engineers are defending that work.
Okay.
We had a owner architect meeting this morning. We're gonna have to set up a meeting. Dave and Chris. Make sure that we're all. Where they have to have it. It's gonna be the same limit line that we proposed back in February. How detail of that. This sidewalk in our project, that sidewalk in their project.
So I'm assuming that the whole demolition was kind of hanging out there for a bit. Who was, knocking down the high school, but
No,
we had to wait for the 28 decision.
it was basically finding the high school project,
Yeah,
but the only thing that changed was having the kind of band. That will not, there'll be less demolition. The high school line was the principal office for that sub basement.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
But really, that's gonna be the things on their end. One thing was the demolition.
oh,
They were planning on demolition off the base, right up to the back wall of that.
oh, okay.
So that was already included in that. Now, it's gonna be less, a little less than others.
Okay, so there's a lot to kind of figure out here.
That's what I
Who's
said, like,
paying for what?
Right.
Okay,
Make sure that everyone thought
okay.
that this was project is-
Okay. One thing I neglected, if anyone wants
Thank
to say anything about the outcome of the referendum, I gave my feelings on it. I didn't know if anyone else wanted to say something, so to speak, on the record.
I'd like to thank you for your work, Peter. I think you did a good job heading up the committee. So
Well,
You
we
should
were
be proud
like
of the
I said, we were supported by great staff. And us collectively. So this was a good team effort. Simple as that.
I'd just like to mention the the museum people
yeah, the
in
museum.
Unionville.
Yeah,
They were
yeah, they did a
pretty impressive.
great
with what
job.
They sent
of,
out and calls they made, and they did a lot of work.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay,
So
on
we're gonna be
terms of,
working
again,
on the contract.
contract.
We're gonna be working on that. The other thing, my understanding is that you guys are gonna start designing, right? In more details, you're gonna start designing. So that's kind of a question of how often we need to meet and go over what the designs look like as a committee. And you tell me, what do you think the logistics of that should be?
It will likely vary in different stages of design, probably meeting more regularly as we do now at the beginning of design, as we decide on design elements, which are, just the general scope of the project being defined. And then we progress into, so that's the review phase. As we're ready to see these, there would be less of a need for us to meet regularly.
And then I'm sorry, Chris, could you just give what the acronyms are for the group?
DD is design development, so right now we're essentially through schematic design. Progressing into design development, which I think was identified as about a 4-month period. And then construction documents, EDC after that, the final stage of design, preparing all 15 without the bid, the general contract.
So we have the design development, then we have the contract
Correct.
development documents that
Documents.
are going to happen. And then the other documents, other things we have to get established too, is that when I talked to our finance director, just about the money aspect of it. So that's not really like a design development, but I know that we have to work on
Done
that
that.
about when we're going to bond and how much money we need and when we need the money. It's not as big of a project as it was obviously for the high school, which was crucial, but Joe did mention to me that he'd like to get a schedule of when the timing of some of that, so we can get that.
And Chris, do we get kind of updated numbers through as we complete each design phase?
Yeah, so we are gonna be updating, so the same estimator will prepare a design development estimate and then a construction document estimate. Right before we go out to bid, so we can sort of project where we are.
Okay, and then we could do any kind of value engineering as we go along on each stage.
That's the intent of that, is it gives us a snapshot of where we are with the budget. We'll work with that through with you. So we could definitely prepare a design schedule, a project schedule, and then we can help you out with a cash flow projection.
So that is this, Kat, help me with this.
Yeah.
So we'll say we're doing, you're designing the first floor of the building right now, and then you'll submit those designs out for bidding or preliminary type bidding through the your in-house, sorry if I'm saying this wrong, purchasing agent. They'll try to come up with quotations for this in-house, and then we get somewhat of a budget idea if we're trending high or low, that type of thing.
So we would, the schedule would be, we take the design through the design development.
Yeah,
And that's meeting with the
yeah,
understanding value engineering. We made
right,
to the citizen council. At the end of design development, the third-party estimator would run another full estimate.
Right, okay.
Would be going out.
yeah, that's what I meant. I know it wasn't going out, but it's
You can
it's
estimate.
in-house.
Yeah.
It's in-house estimating.
Yeah.
And then after- Depending on what's going on in the construction industry and the numbers and maybe or then knowing what we're trying to scope of the project, if we identify overages, we'll do another round of value engineering.
Okay,
That same process would happen after we complete the construction or contract document
okay,
or going out to public.
all right.
And Chris, I mean, again, just coming off what we've been doing with the high school project, which is such a much bigger project, obviously. Do you think like, because the high school project has a lot of little subcommittees that do things and it just makes them more productive? But it sounds at the beginning that when you guys are bringing in the different designs that I don't think we do, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we need at that point subcommittees. I think that this group can be the subcommittee, right? Because it's just not as massive of as a project.
Right,
So
right.
this group could be doing that work, right? I just want to be as, okay,
Yeah, we made the bulk decisions already.
Yeah.
in the strategy design. I think the items left for consideration are when we're getting into finishes and colors, and materials, of that.
and this group could do
I
that.
Yeah.
I think we could do that in our segregated in a way that we're not presenting it all at one time, but I don't think it's necessary to have an interior committee and exterior.
Yeah,
site.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to go through
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
of the logistics
All
of
right.
it. So
I asked that I'm sure I have it in this pile,
Excuse me.
the document that came out of the committee that looked at the value engineering.
Yep.
That document be sent out.
Yeah.
Again,
yep, we
I'm
have
sure
that.
it's here, but I don't know where.
Okay,
And so really, so Chris, would it be at the next meeting, basically our next meeting, we would be, if we're not done with the contract, we'd be getting pretty close to the contract. You would start with some of the designs, that maybe we'd have something to look at. And then we'd also have like our schedule, like you'd start backing out an overall design schedule, like we could talk about that. Is that kind of what you see the next steps at the next, next meeting here?
Yeah, the next meeting I think would be mostly discussing schedule, cash flow, contract, if there are any questions with that. And then after, we would start to get into the final design elements. I know, I'll take a step back and look at that entry vestibule.
yeah, yeah,
again,
yeah.
And what that addition and elevator looks like. So that would really be step one of our design efforts in conjunction with probably a lot more field work at this point. And we can schedule that. It doesn't need to be right away and wait until the kids are out of school, probably makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And we're gonna really want to get the guts of that building. We may ask to do some selective demolition. We have to test the environmental sampling and testing. I don't think the building is touched.
We'll have to double check. It could have been the first bill. We've had multiple
round,
committees, so
yeah.
there could have been something in 2016, 2017, but we'll take a look.
So, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and I think reviewing that schedule, at our next meeting is going to be quite a lot.
Okay, how long before, what's the time frame before our next meeting? 2 weeks, a month? You tell me.
2 weeks, if we're talking schedule, cash flow, contract, 2 weeks.
I think we have a date set on the schedule already. What
Is that gonna work for you guys, Kathy?
We have
Staying with
23rd?
Tuesdays.
We've
Yeah.
got one scheduled for May 23rd.
May 23rd, so that's actually three weeks.
3
Yeah,
weeks?
And that's on the schedule, so
Yeah,
I think
okay.
we keep that day, I think.
All right,
23rd,
Yeah,
that works for everyone. Does it work for you, Chris? Yeah,
4:30.
4:30.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that works, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then you'll be working with the high school group on some of that other stuff, which leads us to the contract stuff, and then also leads us to the schedule, and, okay, I think I get it.
Kathy, we'll keep meeting here.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we will.
What's the,
You're in the-
Here or into the pavilion.
what's the tentative date for demolition up there?
It's July 2024.
July 2024, all right.
That's completion of it.
I think it's the beginning of it.
Beginning?
No, so how long is that? Is this?
Well, they are opening the new building for end of August of 2024. So the kids will, in 2024, they'll move out in June and move into the new building in August. So I can get the detailed schedule for you about the duration of demolition that they have slated. But I know it's July that they're beginning.
Yeah, we want to discuss when that actually begins. We don't get the project too
Early.
Contractors, the numbers with projected
Right.
timeline, so we want to be sure when it's truly ready to start. You tell them they're starting and they're not ready at the contract. So we want to get that just at the right time of the handoff between their position and start.
Okay. All right, so, well, I guess we kind of talked about schedule, so,
Yeah,
Yep.
so I think we have what are two every other week is still, I think we keep it. And if we need to cancel meetings, we'll cancel it.
Yeah,
So
well,
we have our
let's,
schedule. Keep it
let's,
on.
yeah, let's go with the 23rd. And then, based on that meeting, if we need to do another one in 2 weeks or longer, we'll play it by ear.
So should we
Okay.
just plan on 2 weeks until every 2 weeks?
Yeah, why don't you,
Until we
yeah,
get
let's go with that
kids,
as a baseline, yeah.
And once we're in the summer, we're gonna be doing most of our field work and behind the scenes work is probably a pause.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so we'll go to reports. I gave I'll go with the chair report. I expressed my feelings on how everything went for this referendum, which was all good. And then from there, I'll go to Joe on the liaison to the town council. Anything, Joe?
Thank you. No, we have not met yet since the vote. I believe our meeting is next week, but I do want to say I'm happy with the turnout of the vote, at least. I believe it's a 2-1 in favor. So I was glad to see that, the majority are on board with saving this building. And again, want to reiterate what Peter said, to thank, our town staff for all their hard work. It's, you're constantly going at it with 3 different projects, this, that, everything else, and still have to run a town. And so I really appreciate your time, and obviously everybody else here at the table and on the microphone for all your work and dedication to this project, and nice to see it through in the next couple of years.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Chris?
Nothing significant to report. The project is taking shape as we see it, and it's proceeding on schedule and on budget, and everything's going well. I think the one thing I would note is that the, I guess, ceremonial completion of the structural phase will take place at the topping off ceremony on Saturday, May 13th, between 9 and 10. If anyone wants to participate or attend that, we welcome you to attend.
Excellent. Okay, architect report, we kind of got that. All right. Communications, nothing new to report, but fabulous job.
We'll have to regroup
Regroup,
again and
yeah.
just do like, when we'll talk with our architects, when
Yeah.
it's a good time to give an update to the community. So
Sure.
we'll
Yeah.
have another correspondence that will go out, but we'll work with the architects about when that would be a good time to get
Maybe a
something out.
couple.
We definitely, I
over the
think we'll
next-
have a couple,
Yeah.
but yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, sure.
That's great.
Nothing,
I'd like to, if I could just
sorry,
interject
man.
on that for a second, Peter.
yeah,
In a referendum like this, where there's kind of low energy in the sense that there's not a lot of both pro and con activity in town, and there was very little of it. The one thing I think that helped us tremendously was the quality of the town letter that was sent out, and Gene and I spent time on it, but really it was the staff that put it together. And I think as I went back and I looked at it, I have it with me, but I went back and looked at it after the vote to see what the sense might be of somebody who got it in the mail. Was it clear? Was it concise? Was it readable? And I would check all of those things. And I looked at it, and I think it's a good template for us going forward. I think the more information we can give the town residents as to how things are going along will not only bode well for this project, but I think in future projects, I think it'll serve as a guide for us as to how to do it the right way. So I think the staff did a wonderful job. I mean, the questions, the answers, it was concise. Anybody who opened it up could find the information out. And I echo your earlier comments that we are really very fortunate to have the high quality staff that we did that worked with us and gave us guidance on this. So I hope we'll have future newsletters, because I think it's going to be very important to keep town residents advised as to what's going on, and build a lot of momentum and enthusiasm. More than that, enthusiasm for the finished product. So thank you all for everything everyone has done.
Thanks, Dan. And financial report, do we have anything? to
Nothing-
report of
nothing new,
Significant,
um,
just the running balance,
Just
so to
the running
speak.
balance.
Okay. All right, anything else from anyone else? Okay. All right, the hard work's gonna begin. All right, so on that note, I need an a motion for adjournment.
Motion?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.